In this video, I'm going to take you through the most recent basketball game that I filmed to show you 5 shots that you need to get when you're filming basketball. Hey, what's going on? My name is Sarellas. I'm a videographer and editor from Toronto, Canada. I specialize in sports videography. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the shots that you absolutely have to get when you're filming basketball. This video was inspired by another video by a sports content creator named Matt Faraci, who made a video here on YouTube about 5 shots that you need to get when filming baseball. And having filmed basketball for a number of years as at my previous job and also on a freelance basis, I thought it'd be fun to make a similar video talking specifically about the shots that you need to get to tell a compelling story when filming basketball. The shots that we're going to talk about in this video can be applied at all levels of filming basketball, from youth basketball all the way to the pros. And I just want to preface that you should be keeping in mind when getting all of these shots what your deliverables are for the event and the story that you're trying to tell. The first type of shot that you have to get when filming basketball is a venue shot or an establishing shot. And establishing shots show what is happening. They tell a viewer who's playing. They just give your entire event some context and can provide a viewer with the very simple details that they might not know otherwise if you throw them right into the action. It can be pretty difficult to differentiate your highlights from somebody else's without providing a little bit of context around them and giving people a reason to care, or kind of building up a story ahead of time. And establishing shots do a great job of building up that story ahead of time so that when you get to the meat and potatoes of your video, people are actually going to stick around and see what you have to offer. And this can include anything from shots outside of your stadium, wide shots in the stadium. It can be shots of bands, mascots, dancers, literally anything that isn't the players can potentially be used as an establishing shot depending on the story that you're trying to convey. The next shot that you absolutely have to get when filming basketball is warm-up shots. If you're trying to tell a story with a beginning, middle, and end, then warm-ups is where your main characters are introduced. I like to get at least 1 to 2 shots of everyone, but you should ideally be looking to showcase the players who are going to be the most prominent for the story that you're trying to tell. If you have to focus on a specific player for any sort of reason, then you want to make sure you get lots of shots of that player. Otherwise, I like to pick off some of the star players. Usually, if I know who the starters are ahead of time, I'll make sure to get lots of warm-up shots of them. But I always try to get at least 1 shot of every single person. Warm-ups are also a time where a lot of players like to show off their athleticism. You get a lot of really cool looking dunks, and you get a wide range of emotions in warm-ups, everything from goofiness to intense focus. And I like to capture as many emotions and as many athletic plays as possible so that I can use them throughout my video, not only at the start, to tell the story that I'm trying to tell. The next thing that you want to capture when you're filming a basketball game is player intros. And this was actually a bit of a weird one for the basketball game that I was at specifically, because usually teams will make a big production out of their home team coming out and being introduced to the fans. There'll usually be pyro or smoke and a PA announcer, and the players will usually be really hype and showcase a lot of emotion. But at this game, for some reason, nobody even reacted. The players didn't even put their hands up as their name was being called. If you hadn't seen this team before, you wouldn't even know who was starting. It was really weird. It was like going to an AAU basketball game where all the players just walk on the court and start playing, which isn't really something I've seen before at a professional game, so I didn't get the best player intro shots at this specific game, unfortunately. But usually, player intros are all about capturing more emotion while also showcasing the event. Some players get really hyped during intros, some pray, some take a moment to relax and compose themselves before the game begins, and all of that can be used within the correct context to preview the game that's to come. A lot of the time during intros, events will also use pyro, smoke, flags, and dance teams during player intros to entertain the crowd, and showing these things can really amplify the excitement of the in-stadium atmosphere for people watching the video. The fourth type of shot that you have to capture when filming a basketball game is, of course, highlights of the game itself. It's pretty hard to tell any story relating to a game without actually filming highlights of the game, so this is kind of a given. These shots are going to be the bread and butter for most of the videos that you make. They can include anything from dunks, and ones, buzzer beaters, 3-pointers. The best highlights are usually ones where you get a player showing emotion at some point. So I like to focus on those, and that's really the type of thing I like looking out for when I'm filming highlights. While filming highlights, I also try to film from a bunch of different angles. Once I get a few good highlights from one spot on the floor, I'll usually change it up and move somewhere else. So sometimes I'll film from the stand and I'll try to get a higher vantage point. I'll film from the sideline, I'll film from the baseline, I'll film sitting down, standing up. Just try to get as much variety in my shots as I can, so when I'm cutting stuff together, it doesn't look too stale and the audience can really see the action from every single perspective. Now, you are gonna miss shots every now and then. Sometimes someone's gonna step in your way. You might have the wrong focal length on. Maybe your autofocus doesn't work. Maybe the action just doesn't move in the way you expected and you frame it up wrong, and that's totally fine. Everyone misses shots every game. But when you do manage to get to the right spot and just nail a great shot, and you will get to the right spot and nail a great shot sometimes. Like, it's just such an awesome feeling, and those are the shots that I really look back on fondly. There were a couple in this game that I got that I was pretty happy with. And yeah, no, highlights are just the most fun part of a game for me. It's an awesome thing to film. And yeah, if you're out at a basketball game, make sure that you get a lot of highlights and you're really moving around and getting creative with the way you capture them, because it can be a lot of fun. The final shot that you want to get when you're filming a basketball game is the game-winning shot. And the Canadian Elite Basketball League, who I was filming for this particular game, is kind of an interesting case because they play to a target score, which means that every game ends on a made basket, so there's always a game-winning shot, which I think is a fun way to play basketball, and on camera it looks phenomenal. So for me, I'm always camping out and making sure I get that game-winning shot, because if I don't get it, then I don't really have the end to my story. It's a pretty important shot to get, and I'll usually try to post up somewhere safe where I know I'm gonna get an angle and just make sure I capture it. If I can get a really good angle of it, like I did in this game, that's awesome. The player literally caught the ball for a corner three right in front of me on the baseline. I pointed the camera up, nailed the shot, and then they all swarmed him literally 2 feet from me. It was pretty good, but even if there isn't a game-winning shot for your game, capturing the final moments of the game where players are celebrating their victory or are sad that they lost is incredibly important to concluding whatever story you're trying to tell. Basically, capturing any emotions of joy or sorrow anywhere in the stadium from anyone implicated with the event when the game ends is going to be really important to kind of putting a bow on your video and finishing it off nicely. If this happens with a game-winning shot, that's awesome because you usually get elevated emotion on both ends. But if it doesn't mean that there isn't any emotion to capture, and you still want to make sure that you're wrapping up your video nicely. That was 5 shots that you need to capture when filming a basketball game. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe to my channel because I post videography and video editing tips and tutorial videos similar to this one on a regular basis, and I'd love to have you around for that. If you have any other ideas for shots that you should be getting when you're out filming a basketball game, drop it in the comments section. I'm also thinking I might do a video like this relating to other sports. I've been filming a lot of football recently. So if you want to see a top 5 shots that you have to get at a football game video, let me know and I can get on that. If you like this video, please hit the like button or share it with a friend if you think that would be helpful for them. And I will see you next time.